Today we are noting a deep-rooted, very logical, and significant inquiry. Imagine a scenario in which the moon collides with Earth. It's more intriguing and abnormal than you likely suspect. We should begin with the fundamentals. For what reason isn't the moon en route to collide with us as of now? We realize that Earth's gravity pulls everything towards it, including the moon, yet somehow, it keeps awake, as though suspended by some inverse force. However, there could be no other power countering gravity. All things being equal, the secret to keeping awake is a sideways movement that we call a circle. You see circles each day. When you toss a ball, it makes a minuscule circle. The main distinction between that ball's circle and the moon's is that the ball at last raises a ruckus around town. Fundamentally, the explanation is speed. In the event that you could toss your ball quickly enough, it would bend all over the planet and return to you. Assuming there was no air dialing it back, it could circle for eternity. The moon does the same, falling sideways around Earth, exceptionally quickly, with no air dialing it back. Circling Earth like clockwork at 3,600 kilometers per hour. So, for the moon to stop in its circle and fall to Earth would break more laws of physics than have the opportunity to make sense of. So how would we crash it into Earth? More or less, to change an object's circle, you want to change its speed, which changes where gravity takes it. However, indeed, even little changes require huge forces, which is the reason every one of the huge objects in the nearby planet group are so steady these days. As indicated by science, the moon is large and very monstrous. In any event, lighting billions of rocket motors all around its surface would scarcely move the moon. It seems to be out-and-out wizardry will make the moon fall. So we'll utilize a magic spell that dials back the moon to such an extent that it changes its circle and twists towards Earth. To maximize the experience, the moon will require precisely 1 year before it hits Earth. Are you game? 3, 2, 1, magic. Month 1. For the initial not many days, nothing changes. The moon gets a smidgen more splendid, and researchers get befuddled, but the rest of us notice nothing unique. The main recognizable real impact of the moon on the Earth are the tides. Tides exist because while Earth pulls on the moon's gravity pulls back on the Earth. Since the strength of gravity gets more vulnerable with distance, various pieces of the Earth feel a somewhat different force. This causes the Earth, particularly the seas, to swell when the moon is above them and contract a little on the sides when it's not. As Earth pivots consistently under the moon's impact changes, causing the water level of the seas to rise and fall by about a portion of a meter 2 times per day. In any case, with the moon moving ever nearer, elevated tides get higher consistently. At first, scarcely perceptible, in the span of a month the moon has closed half the distance to the Earth, and sea tides have developed to 4 meters. Ordinary elevated tides come and waves flood waterfront urban communities. What's more, there is no real endgame. With the moon moving ever nearer, tides rise ever more elevated, immersing another city in more occupied land with pungent water consistently. Month 2. Toward the finish of month 2, the moon takes care of 2/3 of the distance to Earth, and worldwide foundation is disintegrating as tides transcend 10 meters, dislodging up to 1 billion people who happen to live close to the shores. As ports become inoperable, shipping grinds to a stop. Not exclusively will it delay down the conveyance of Kurzgesagt items, but also less thrilling things like food. Global correspondences fall into chaos. 95% of the web is conveyed by sea crossing links, and keeping in mind that these generally wouldn't fret the water, their terminals ashore do. Living inland doesn't ensure security either. Flowing exhaust makes waterways stream in reverse, conveying saltwater to defile surface and groundwater supplies. Gas deficiencies follow, as petroleum treatment facilities close to the coast are deserted. Nations are left with the provisions they had on their racks, and severe apportioning will begin. In the urban areas, bedlam rules during the rummaging long stretches of low tide, while survivors take shelter in high-rises when the water returns. Month 3. 90 days in and the moon is sufficiently close to upset correspondence and route satellites. While it is regularly very far off for its gravity to cause any serious issues for our satellites, the closer it gets, the more distorted their circles become. As their fuel for orbital rectifications runs out, satellites lurch crazy. Month 4 to 5. On the planet, the tides are quickly developing to around 30 meters and will be arriving at 100 m in height in a couple of brief weeks. At low tide, the sea subsides many kilometers, uncovering the continental shelf like tremendous deserts, while at elevated tide, walls of water suffocate agriculture, houses, and high-rises. Furthermore, now, just about 5 months in, the end of the world has completed its warm-up act. Since the seas are on average just 3 kilometers profound, the tides have reached their maximum. Up until now, the water in the seas could flow, absorbing the vast majority of the moon's gravitational crushing, but now the Earth itself is truly under the pressure of the ever-approaching moon. These aren't so much tides of water, but tides of rock. The crushing of the planet, combined with the weight of quintillions of tons of water sloshing on and off the structural plates, creates tremendous burdens beneath and begins to cause earthquakes of increasing magnitude and force. It's difficult to say how severe these seismic tremors may be or where they will happen. However, similar to a child bouncing on their bed until it breaks, no good can happen to it. Solid flowing powers lead to volcanism on different planets and moons. On Earth, pressing the planet upsets the magma supplies inside the covering, setting off sizable, environment-changing emissions in Chile, New Zealand, Yellowstone, and elsewhere. In the meantime, observing silently above is the moon. Still no larger overhead than a little cloud. Month 6 to 7. After a portion of a year, the moon is entering the space occupied by geosynchronous satellites, where it circles Earth at regular intervals. It shows up to drift at one spot overhead, unmoving, burning through a full arrangement of stages each day, but simply apparent to a portion of the planet. With the moon fixed over the Earth, the tides appear to freeze in place. Around 50% of the world is overflowed, while half has its water apparently returned to the ocean, as though Earth is holding its breath to prepare for just plain terrible. As the moon sinks further, you could contemplate whether its gravity would overwhelm Earth's, pulling you up and finishing your wretchedness. Luckily not. The world's surface gravity is about multiple times more grounded than the moon's, so regardless of whether the moon were drifting right on top of you, you would still remain on the ground. However, on the moon, things are different. The close side of the moon is all the more emphatically impacted by Earth's gravity, so during the following couple of months, it begins to extend forward towards the Earth, into something of an egg, setting off deep moonquakes as the lunar stone flexes and changes shape. Scarcely perceptible now, this crunch will grow to many kilometers surprisingly fast. Month 8 to 11. As of now, the end of the world has arrived, and we can sum up the months prior to the accident as, everyone left has a downright terrible time. The tides clearing over the Earth slow down and then invert their direction because the moon now circles Earth faster than it turns. The planet will experience an overflow of earthquakes and volcanism. Gigantic measures of volcanic vapor sprayers rise high into the stratosphere, adequately sparkly to reflect daylight back into space. What minimal light traverses is rust red and is intermittently reduced by daily clouds. The outcome is a rapid global cooling, with acidic rains and summer snows killing even the hardiest plants. The clock runs out on human progress. Billions have died while an egg-shaped moon is still drawing closer. How about we prepare for the amazing finale? Month 12. At last, toward the year's end, the moon has arrived at its limit. That is the point where Earth's gravitational draw on the moon is more grounded than the moon's own gravity. Things on the lunar surface begin falling towards Earth, and when it crosses 10,000 kilometers, the whole moon breaks down into rubble, spreading itself into a gigantic ring system around the Earth. Luckily, the moon's breaking down means the hopelessness on Earth has finished. No moon implies the overall prophetically calamitous nature of things stops. The seas subside, flowing off the land one final time. Any survivors are blessed to witness huge curves crossing the sky, glinting in the daylight, illuminating the night sky more splendidly than any full moon at any point could, while meteor showers of moondust fill the sky. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the universe. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more amazing updates.